On this episode of the Houndsman XP podcast, we're going to Shipshewana, Indiana. We're sitting down with Chip Kohser and Adam Yoder of Elite Nutrition. We're talking about horse and mule nutrition. Adam is a wealth of knowledge. The guy looks at and treats over 5,000 horses and mules a year. And then they're using all their own products on them. And you're going to hear me in the episode talk about their facility and everything. But this is not just your average barn. This is a therapy barn. This is a state-of-the-art facility, and it's just an awesome place. They're doing a lot of good work up there. And we're going to talk about the essential things that you can use on your horse or your mule to keep it on its feet and chasing those hounds day after day. It's a great episode. I learned a ton in this talking to Adam. I always learn something when I'm talking to Adam. Elite Nutrition products have been taking the hunting world by storm. You guys have all heard about it, about hounds and their tick-borne disease treatment, their thyroid solutions, all those different things that can help you and your hounds. Well, they've also got a whole line about horse and equine stuff, and that's really where their bread and butter is. That came before the canine, the dog stuff. And just so you know, houndsmanxp.com, that is the website. If you go in our shop, we've got the complete lineup of both the horse and mule equine stuff and the dog stuff. All of the Elite Nutrition product lineup is there. And if you want more information, come to the Horses, Hounds, and Mules sale on July 12th and 13th in Farmington, New Mexico. Elite Nutrition. Chip is driving all the way out there just for this sale. If you're going to the sale, stop by and talk to him. If you can't make it to the sale, make sure you visit houndsmanxp.com and you can see the whole selection of Elite Nutrition for hounds and your ride. Folks, I had a lot of fun doing this one, really, and I learned a bunch, and I think you will too, whether you've been a long-time cowboy or a lot of hat and no cows like me. Let's get the tailgate down. It's time to dump the box.
By the way, did you see I'm representing today? Look at that.
Yeah, I know. I was going to comment on that hat, too.
Well, I don't have a Houndsman XP hat yet.
Oh, yeah, I thought you got one.
Mm-mm.
I like that shirt.
Oh, I did. I got that one little flat, like I want a trucker hat. I don't want the little flat, like I'm born in 2000.
I do not sell flat billed hats.
It was I didn't like the hat. I'm sorry. I gave it away.
Is that unstructured? Can you move over to your?
Yeah.
Can you move over to your right a little bit so I can get you and Adam in the same frame? There you go. Both of you. Don't be pushing Adam out of the frame. He's a guy.
I was rubbing his knee.
He's the guy I really want to talk to anyway.
I'll be jumping out of the mic here.
Well, hey, I appreciate you guys coming on, and it's timely because the Horses, Hounds, and Mules sale is coming up real quickly, and you guys are going to be at the Horses, Hounds, and Mules sale. Or have plans changed?
No, I am. I'm sending somebody else to the Pro Sport Youth Hunt. After Jody said that she was willing to go on a trip with me, I wasn't, regardless of where I could be.
There you go.
Once Jody said she was willing to go on a trip with me, that put it in stone. So yeah, we'll figure out the other one.
Cool. Well, there's a lot of cool stuff to do out in that part of the country anyway. So I think she'll love it. I really do. I mean, Farmington's nothing fancy. It's just a Western town. But
spending 3 hours in the car with me, how could she not?
And are you guys going to drive it straight through, or?
That's still, we're working on that. I don't want to set up a terrible booth, and I'm not sure she wants to drive 60 hours. So we might end up flying her in and me driving, or we'll figure that out.
Right. Well, I've got Adam Yoder and Chip Kohser on this episode to talk about Elite Nutrition products and the reason they're going to be at the Horses, Hounds, and Mules sale. And this is part of we haven't spent any time on, but we've got to talk about it because you're going to have the whole Equine line out there. How do you say that? Do you say Equine or do you say Equine?
I say Equine.
Equine. There it is. Okay,
Yeah.
equine. That means horses and mules for dummies like me.
Yeah. And technically donkeys and zebras too.
Oh, really?
I think
maybe
so.
we'll
see the same family.
Donkeys are something else.
Oh yeah.
Like
They have babies though.
Yeah, they do. I can't.
What happens if you give Elite Nutrition products to a donkey, Adam?
Oh, they just get really healthy and twice as ornery.
That actually, I got a funny story for you. So I had a lady that reached out to me because my involvement in Farm Bureau. She was a farmer that had 5 protection dogs, and her neighbor moved in from the city and tried to change their municipality to the city and started giving them aggravation about manure and stuff like that. So they tried to get her on a noise violation because of her fans, but because it was zoned agricultural, they couldn't. But then they went and passed an ordinance that said if you have 5 or more dogs, regardless if you have a kennel license, you can get brought up on a noise ordinance. And I tried my best to fight it through the state, and the state's, it has to follow the municipality has their right to do what they want to. So what we ended up doing is we convinced her to sell 1 dog, and she got 2 donkeys and some guineas. So her neighbor's real happy now.
Those donkeys are not quiet, and neither are guineas.
No.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, Adam, how you been, man? We haven't talked to you. I haven't talked to you for a while. What you been up to?
Just working like crazy, trying out new products and making things work.
Yeah. Yep. What's your latest breakthrough? What's your last aha moment in the therapy barn?
Publicly or privately?
One thing that he did have a lot of success, because we got some products that are in development that we're not ready to release to the public yet. Was very successful. He was very successful, and I'll let him tell. There was a whole bunch of the rhinovirus that was going through the area, and we were very successful with dealing with that.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest success stories for this spring is the rhinovirus, and be able to get on top of that and keep it from spreading in the other barns and through the horses and through the community. We were very fortunate to have some stuff like our UltraGuard 2 and Rebalance kept that in check and kept it in the barns and kept it really contained. The state vets were very impressed in what they seen and what was held back. So that was a huge thing.
Well, let's talk about rhinovirus a little bit, kind of lay out what that is, how it spreads, and what your product would do to suppress it, keep it contained.
The rhinovirus spreads through saliva and mucus. So anytime they drink out of the same water tank or you touch a horse's nose and you go touch another horse, and that's really, really easy to do while doing chores or in the barn. So it's really, and if they snot on a wall or get some mucus on a wall and another horse touches that or sniffs at it, that's how the virus spreads. And it affects their neurological, the whole neurological system, and get the swelling and infection in it. So our UltraGuard 2 was building their immune system up. Like if we had one in the barn that had it, we'd put the whole barn heavy on UltraGuard 2, and it built up their immune system good enough that they could fight it off and that they stayed contained in that barn, to that horse in that barn.
And for you guys who are familiar with dog products, the UltraGuard 2 would be our equivalent to our Happy Dog Plus.
Okay. What are some of the symptoms of that rhinovirus when you were looking at it and you saw it and boom, you put them on it?
Fever, quick high fever, and they couldn't stand up anymore. They'd sit on their butt like a dog, and they couldn't use their hind end anymore. And they had to have help to get up.
Wrong way.
Yeah, you went the other way. Tell Chip to go back behind that shelf, and he can sit back there and talk.
He'll be glad. I'll quiet him down. So, and then these horses, there's these horse sales, auctions, so to speak. They sell anywhere from 100 to, the biggest sale we had sold over 800 horses in 1 week. And there was horses there that had the virus that the owners were unaware of.
Right.
And so a big percentage of these new buyers ended up buying some of our products, going home, keeping their horses on it so it stayed contained to that horse. And we ended up, out of the big sale that sold over 800 horses, there's only 3 of them that ended up contracting the virus after the sale.
So as soon as you see the symptoms, then you just put the whole barn on.
Yes. Yeah. And we quarantine the best we can, but but if the horse might have had it be contagious for a week or so before it showed any symptoms.
That's what I was wondering about. I mean, how many horses, how much can that spread around before you pick up on the symptoms and can get everything quarantined and separated and stuff like that?
Quite a bit, 4 to 7 days before symptomatic.
Wow. And they're contagious in that 4 to 7 days prior. So if you go to a sale and you buy a horse and it comes home and all of a sudden, boom, it's got rhinovirus, or you notice it's got you see the symptoms, then there's a good chance it came from the sale.
Very, very good chance. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems to be pretty contained and probably mostly over with it this time. People vaccinate pretty good for it. The vaccines are actually pretty good on like kicking it out and containing the situation. So
what does the treatment look like? And name the product again, Adam.
Our Rebalance is what we use to fight the infection. And then the UltraGuard 2 is what we use for the immune system.
All right. So talk about what that treatment looks like with those two products. We just jumped right into this. This is great.
The Rebalance is a liquid form, and it's kind of our natural antibiotic. Can I say that? Mm-hmm. And it kills any infections, inflammation in your body, bloodstream, and tissue. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the same as what we use to kill Lyme's disease in dogs.
That's what I was going to ask. If it's similar, is similar to that product?
It's the same product.
Same product. Yeah.
Oh, same one. You're not afraid to throw that out there and say it's the same.
Yeah, it's the same. It just comes in a bigger bottle.
Yeah.
I hear you. And so how do you administer that?
Orally. That's like 30 cc's at a time. And once they're symptomatic in bad shape, we'll give it like every 2 to 4 hours around the clock, the first 24 hours. And then once it's in their system and got some traction on it, then we go down to 3 times a day. And we keep them on that till they're completely over it and back to normal again.
So you just using a drench tube for this, or is it just small enough?
Just a syringe.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you, if it's a small enough dose for a syringe.
Yeah, they love the flavor of it, and once you give it once or twice, they'll reach for it and swallow it right up as soon as you get it.
Yeah. So. And then how are you administering and using the UltraGuard 2? That
is just a powder top dress on their feed. And if they're off feed and they're not eating at the time, then it can be mixed with water and it makes a very nice paste. And then you just give that orally in the paste. But as a rule, it's caramel flavored. You put it on their feed and they'll eat it up real well off the feed.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. We jumped right into that. I was going to do a little bit more of an overlay on products and things like that, but this should have got everybody's attention that, something as contagious as a rhinovirus, you guys got products to contain that, especially if you're buying animals from a sale or whatever. I mean, would you use it pre-symptoms if you bought a horse from a sale, Adam? Would you wait to see symptoms?
For sure. Every new horse and every new horse in the therapy barn or out of a sale, they all go on UltraGuard 2. It takes the toxins out of their system and builds their immune system. So you don't carry any diseases from the farm, the sale, the trailer, the whole situation. It just goes on UltraGuard 2 automatically for 10 days.
Wow.
It's very affordable to feed, and horses all love it. And it's caramel flavored, and it helps switch over to new feeding programs. Every time you buy a horse, you put him on a different feeding program or a different type of grain that he's used to. So sometimes it takes a day or 2, or 3 to get used to the new feed, et cetera. So if you put this stuff on there and it's caramel flavored, it masks the smell and it masks the new feed taste or whatever. And they love that taste. So it serves 2 purposes at once.
Wow. That's a good way to start this off. Let's jump in and just talk about elite nutrition. Cause I think unless I'm mistaken, I think that the equine products came about before the dog products. Would that be accurate, Adam?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys started with equine because of your community and stuff like that. So let's talk about how you guys developed the products, why you started doing that. Let's touch base on where you guys are at your therapy barn. I want to talk about that because I think it's really important to understand that, this isn't just a small operation. Your therapy barn is huge. And, but let's start off with the therapy barn. Let's talk about where you're at and what you're doing up there.
We're having a lot of fun and daily challenges. That's the easiest way to put it. We're treating a lot this time of the year. There's a lot of foaling situations going on, and foals that got diseases and sicknesses and infections, and mares that had issues foaling and stuff. So we're just getting through most. That's been my last 3 months is pretty much 80% of it is foaling related because of the time of the year. But we do have all sorts of other situations in as far as lameness, Lyme's disease. We had some lockjaw, tetanus situations going on. We just started. We had our first 2 West Niles cases last week. So that's another thing, time of the year. So we're treating a lot of different scenarios and a lot of different situations here at the therapy barn. We brought out some new products that we had tested that we're still getting better at and learning more how they work and what they do. Electrolytes, we brought out a new electrolyte program last year. We have it in a tube and in a powder that has been very, very good for us as far as getting blood flow and hydration back to your horse. So we're using that a lot in treatment or as we treat, because we can go a lot faster and quicker if we have if the electrolytes, the blood oxygen, and everything is in order.
I want to comment one thing there too. There's a lot of electrolytes out there on the market, but the one thing that he mentioned is key is we've got our electrolyte product also increases the red blood cell count, which is going to get more oxygen flowing to the muscle. And that's something that is unique to the Elite product that you're not getting from every other electrolyte on the market.
Cool. Let's wait and talk about individual products here in just a second, but I really want to dive in to what the therapy barn is. Cause when I walked in the therapy barn, I was blown away. We took video. We did a lot of different stuff there that day. I mean, I was just in awe. Stalls. What is the purpose of the therapy barn there, Adam?
The therapy barn is to fix horses that nobody else can. That's the bottom line. I mean, we treat easier cases and run-of-the-mill cases local, but we end up with probably 80 to 90% of our horses have been diagnosed and treated by multiple different practitioners, et cetera, and they give up, and or they tried doing it at home and they didn't have the ability or the tools and the team that it took to get the horse over the situation. So we get horses from Canada, New York, New Mexico, New Jersey that are on death sentences, or it's their last resort. So they come here, and we dig till we get to the bottom of it, and we have the products to help us get to where we need to be once we find out where it is. Give me an example of like your most recent success story, a horse that came in on its last leg, and just tell us how you guys treated it and your results and stuff like that. Okay. We had probably the most recent one was a horse that came in with bot worms, parasites in his stomach, coated completely all the way around. The stomach was completely coated with bot parasites. And
how did you find that out? How did you diagnose that?
We ended up scoping the horse and seeing what's going on in the stomach and what's in there. But the horse was skin and bones. It could barely walk. It was just down to his last 2 weeks of life. His kidneys were shutting down. Her liver was shutting down. She was in very, very bad shape. And but if she wasn't eating, she wasn't absorbing anything she was eating. She had ulcers in her stomach because of the bots, so she didn't drink or eat. And it was going on for over a year before she got here.
Is this horse a tranny? Because you started out saying he, and now we're to she.
It's a she. It's a mare. I have a bad problem with that. Horses are all he's
until they become she's. You're running You're running a sex change operation up there. Yeah. So let's get back into the bots part and how you treat it. You know what you did, what products you used, and what that looked like.
We did scope her and found what it was and how bad it was. And we did end up using some conventional medication. We used ivermectin warmer to help us along the way. And then we put them on our Remove as our natural parasite control, which has a lot of diatomaceous earth in it. And then we put them on Rebalance. And that is what we use to fight our ticks and our
Lyme disease. Or
horses, EPM. Like
it
kills the protozoa in EPM. So it kills all bacteria and parasites in your horse.
And virus.
Yeah. So we got pretty aggressive with that, and we drench her we did every 2 hours around the clock for 3 days. And I'm talking at night too.
Yeah.
We had an orphan baby in the barn. We had to get up and feed anyway at that time. So we did that. And we scoped it 13 days later. We had the same veterinarian technician come out and scope her that did the first time. And he looked at me and he said, Adam, I don't know what you did or what you gave to this horse, but I've never seen anything like this in my life before. And today that horse is slick, fat, sassy, and happy as could be. So,
is the horse back with her owner yet?
We ended up buying the horse.
Oh, so you fix them up and you buy them.
So we
that's great.
That was very good on that part. The time before that, we had a horse from New Hampshire come in with back legs, the size we call them elephant legs. Is a big Belgian pulling horse from New Hampshire, and he had him at 3 universities and a couple other places, and a lot of different practitioners look at it, and they couldn't figure out what was going on with the horse. And the back legs were from the stifles down, looked like a stovepipe all the way down. They were just 2 straight back legs. They were oozing pus. This has been going on for about 3 years. And
no kidding.
He couldn't figure him out, and he got a friend of a friend of a friend told him to bring him up here. So he hauled him up here from New Hampshire. And he was here for 7 weeks, and he went home completely fine, and the legs were down where they needed to be, and all the infection and inflammation were gone. So,
and you did that with Rebalance?
We used a lot of Rebalance, Total Guard, and Ultra Guard 2. We took all the toxins out of his system, and then we used a lot of that Hydrolyte, the new electrolyte, to enhance blood flow. It just needed a lot of blood flow. So that was the 4 products that we used the most on that.
So you guys aren't just, the therapy barn, you do use a lot of trial and error stuff, but because you see so many horses, you've got a pretty good baseline of where to start. But I've heard you talk about it multiple times. And they were there when I was there. You guys are veterinarian supported when you need veterinarians and things like that, right?
Absolutely. I'm fortunate enough to have the best guy in the business at my back door. And he helps me a lot, and he comes out whenever I need him. Every Monday morning, he's here for 3 to 5 hours doing x-rays and scopes, et cetera. And he helps us whatever we need on the conventional medicine side.
Right. Let's dive into some of the products and talk about what each. Just give me what do we want to do? Top five products, and talk a few minutes about each one. And
I think
do it too. You guys just roll into
products that we have that solve problems that nobody else can. Because there's a lot of products that there might be competitors out there, and we think ours is better, but we do have some products that nobody else has. That's one of the things that I love about Elite, is a lot of times I get to sell the only toy store during Christmas, or be the only toy store during Christmas to solve these problems. And I'll defer to Adam, but the one I need to mention is the Relink. The Relink, it will dissolve calcium in the body that's not supposed to be there and strengthen calcium that's supposed to be there. So if you got a break or whatever, but I actually have a lady that barrel racing, and she had a horse that had ring bone so bad she had a difficult time exercising it on a lead. Ring bone is whenever you basically get calcified joints around the ankle where it fuses. And correct me, I'm misleading it all there, Adam. And what that relink does is in time, it will dissolve that calcium that's not supposed to be there. Traditionally, if you had a horse with ring bone, you just had a lame horse for the rest of its life. This particular case of this customer, she was on the relink for 4 months and she's barrel racing that horse again.
And we have a lot of testimonies, all that. That is the product that the veterinarians say the impossible product. Elite's impossible product. That's what they call it.
Really? Well,
I always like to put an ad up with Smokey and the Bandits. We're going to do what they say can't be done behind it, you know?
Well, so the ring bone deal, let's talk about that. You say there's calcium in the joint, but it tell me how that works, because you've got a calcium buildup where it's not supposed to be, and it gets rid of that. But you also said that it strengthens the calcium where it's supposed to be. I mean, how does a product see? How does that work?
It balances out the system. Ring bone and calcification is, if you get a joint that is dry, you get a dry joint. Okay, like it's sore, it's inflamed, it's creaking, it's old. Okay, Mother Nature's way of protecting that joint is fusing it together with arthritis. Because if it wouldn't, your joint would just eventually wear through. Like, you know what I'm saying? So nature's way is to build calcification around that so it doesn't bend anymore, so it doesn't wear through. Okay, so what this relink goes in and eats, so it balances out your bone system. Okay, so it's all about balance of nutrition. So it makes good bone strong, but it eats away at bad bone. So calcification and arthritis and bone spurs and OCDs and all that stuff is all excessive bone matter, and it has no blood flow to it, has no heat, has no circulation to it. So it dissolves that and makes your bone stronger again and relubricates your joint.
And that's back to what you said. The way it distinguishes between good bone and bad bone is the stuff that has blood flowing through it versus that does not.
Okay. I need to get some for my back.
You do.
We have it called Cell Link. We have a human product called Cell Link that's the same.
I have a good friend that had a bone spur in his heel for years, was limping on this bone spur because he didn't want to go do surgery. And he took these pills for 6 months and the bone spur is completely gone.
From your human line, right?
The human line, but it's the same concept as balance. Yeah. But the Relink is one of our top 5 of our impossible products that we're very proud and happy to have. But eat that, like he said, the ring bone, and you get any type of splint fractures or just shin fractures or bad joints, coffin bones, and navicular is another big thing. Like if you have a horse with navicular, it can't be fixed. There's nothing on the market to fix it. So we put them on Relink, and usually in about 6 to 8 months later, they're back to normal again.
Is this just a dry top dress for feed?
It is a dry top dress, yes.
So it's as easy as using Essential Dog. You just mix it with the feed and roll on.
Yep. And so that is one of the key products we use on a lot of our healing situations in the barn, in the therapy barn, and is why we speed up our healing. So if you have a fractured coffin bone, the vet will tell you it has to be in the stall from 8 to 12 weeks. And if it's on Relink, you can cut that down to 6 weeks. Like it almost doubles or sometimes triples your healing time on a fractured bone, just because of the bone flesh cartilage builder that's in there.
Hey, when this podcast drops, I'm going to be in New Mexico again, and I'll be out here for a few weeks. We'll be working on the ranch. We'll be getting ready for fair season, getting dogs in shape, because I got a lot of roads out there I can road dogs on. And we'll be chasing bobcats and different stuff while we're out there, doing some trash breaking on some young dogs, getting them tuned up. But anyway, Shorty and I are going to have a good time. One thing I'm going to have with me is my Cajun light. Cajun lights are just awesome. I have not found a glitch with these lights. I don't remember when the last time is I charged them. I'm going to have to charge everything up once I once I get out there, just to make sure they don't go dead. But seriously, if you haven't, go to houndsmanxp.com and check out Cajun Lights. We're selling a whole line of lights there. I use Cajun Lights because I really like LW Nixon, to tell you the truth. I mean, that's the deal breaker for me. I don't mind repping stuff from my buddies, but I won't rep stuff from my buddies if it's junk though. You can check out everything that Cajun Lights has to offer, and Cajun Outdoors. It's Cajun Lights, Cajun Outdoors. Go to CajunLights.com and you can find Garmin equipment, you can find all your dog equipment, you can find all that stuff. And if you're in the area down there in North Carolina where LW's shop is, stop in, because they also sell elite nutrition products. They've got everything you need at Cajun Lights. What else you got? What's your next? Oh, wow.
Rebalance, back to the rebalance. That's always going to be our big wow. We talked about that with the Rhino. We talked about it for the EPM, but now we go into West Niles. We go into staph infection. We go into lockjaw tetanus. The list goes on and on. That is a huge product for Elite Nutrition, is just killing all the virus, infection, and inflammation and all bacteria. So
is the use of that product similar to, since we've talked about dogs before, and is the treatment time the same, or are we doing a Rebalance Plus, Happy Dog Plus, and what else are we doing?
No, Rebalance it's probably just easier or quicker on horses than it is on dogs. Like, a lot of the treatment is 10 to 12 days and it's out of the system. Like, really? Horses rebuild themselves healthier a lot quicker than any animal that I ever dealt with, if you get them on the right direction.
And there are some combinations, like with the EPM, the Rebalance will take care of the parasite, but the Rebound actually will rebuild the nerve tissue. What EPM is, it's like a parasite that will bore itself into the spinal cord. So the Rebalance, and it's also not often called possum's disease for those that have never heard of EPM.
Right.
So what that worm will do is it will bore into the spinal cord. The Rebalance will kill that worm, but you're still going to have that damage to the nerve tissue because you have something that just bored into the spinal cord. The Rebound product will actually regenerate that nerve tissue so that horse regains all of its feeling as well. So there are some combinations still. A lot of times we'll use the Total Guard, which is combination similar to the canine guard on the dog side, because that's our detoxifier. So the Rebalance will kill it, and the Total Guard is the detoxifier that gets it out of the system and makes it work quicker.
And our next big wow product that we're just getting into is our Ultimate Hoof. There is.
What is it, Adam? Say that again. I was watching Chip's reaction when I told him not to lean up towards the microphone when he starts talking.
Ultimate Hoof.
Ultimate Hoof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Horses are key. The most important part of a horse is his feet. Like, they're heavy, they're big, and good feet is a huge factor in a horse. There's a ton of different hoof products out on the market. And as far as I know, we have the only foot product. So it's Ultimate Hoof. But we rebuild the whole foot, not just the hoof. If you're looking, you know what a horse's foot looks like. You got a lot of cartilage, a lot of blood vessels, and a lot of bone and tissue inside a hoof that's about a half-inch thick. So the products we used to have and used to work with just made that hoof grow fast if you had a problem with cracked feet or et cetera, sore feet. The Ultimate Hoof, we have products in there to create a lot of blood flow and take inflammation and infections out of your foot and regrow your cartilage in your foot. So now we have a product that grows out the whole foot with the hoof. Like a horse, you have to trim his feet every 6 to 8 weeks, like a working horse, et cetera, to get him shod back and get that foot growing down. But you need that whole foot to metabolize itself and be have blood flow, and so they don't get sore on their feet. So it's a very, very unique product that will heal your foot. You have horses that walk sore footed and they walk on stones, they're sore, or they just, after a day's work, they're after a rodeo or a barrel race or whatever, they just walk really sore for a couple days. That's because there's no blood flow to that hoof to build itself or to get back going again. So this new product is made to refurbish that foot and get you a really healthy, soft, cushiony foot.
Okay. Well, I want to, we've got everybody that listens to this podcast out west. Some of them do their own shoeing. Some of them are actually licensed farriers, all kinds of stuff. So, but for those of us that don't have that kind of qualification, what you're saying is the whole foot, everything from the frog to the outside of that hoof's like a toenail that needs to be trimmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but what your product does is it helps the inside of the foot and the soft parts of the feet to keep those healthy too.
Very exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And if you get a hoof with no blood flow, your hoof wall gets narrow and narrower and narrower. And then they don't have room to pound nails in, or it just makes them very soft-footed on the ground. This makes so you can get a wide hoof wall and get a lot of foundation under yourself.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
you got a 2,000-pound horse, he needs a good foundation if you're going to work him every day.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would think that
for about 6 years, I think, before we finally got it out on the market, and it's doing very well for us.
How long's it been out, Adam?
About 6-8 months now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's new. So we're actually rolling it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that better if I move back, Chris?
Yeah, if you go back behind that shelf, it's even better.
Can you still hear?
We don't have to see you either. What else you got, Adam? What else is an aha?
The other two big wow factors are kidney and liver treatments. Again, there's a lot out on the market that will flush a liver and flush a kidney. Our products have a lot of anti-inflammatories in it and take the infection and inflammation out of your body as you treat. For sure, kidneys. There's urinary tract infection and bladder infection, kidney infection, et cetera. So our stuff has enough of your antibodies, and the same situation as Rebalance, the natural antibiotic in it, to kill and cure the infection and inflammation as it flushes the kidney. That's probably.
Does it need to be used with Rebalance, or
No.
is this product doing something that Rebalance won't do?
It's something that Rebalance won't do. Rebalance will kill the infection, but it won't flush your kidneys.
Okay.
So this flushes your kidneys and kills the infection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a unique product for our company. There's hundreds of different kidney flushes out on the market. If you have a urinary tract or a bladder infection, and then you flush the kidneys, you get great results for 6 to 9 weeks, and then you're right back where you started because you didn't kill your infection. You just flush your kidneys. So this product is designed to to knock down all the infections, inflammation, and flush your kidneys. And the same with the liver.
If I'm standing there at my fence and I'm looking at my horses out in the pasture, or if I'm looking at them in the stall, how am I going to know that I could be looking at a kidney problem? What are some of the things you see that key you into say, hey, this horse has got this going on?
Kidney infections and bladder infections are very common. They urinate often. So instead of every 2, 3, 4 hours like the other horses do, like they'll just periodically pee 2 cups full and then walk away and do it again. Like that is pretty sure sign of urinary tract or some bladder issues going on. Or after
just frequent and minimal amounts of urinating.
Yeah, that's a guarantee across the board. Kind of every horse situation. Like if they have that issue, that's what they do. The other thing,
does it affect their movement too, Adam, when they're moving?
If it gets bad enough, it definitely will, for sure. In high stress situations, like racing, for sure, and like high speed, Like you'll lose seconds. They can't finish at the end of the mile, or they won't be strong. They won't finish strong because they don't stretch out and push like they can because of burning sensation. And,
nice.
and irritable, a lot of mares have it that are irritable and just hard to deal with. Like they're just mad about with other horses or just irritable with you and whatever. And a lot of that goes back to kidney and bladder issues, and it affects their hormone levels. Your ovary horn and all that stuff is all intertwined with your bladder and urinary tract. So most of the time, if you have a horse with a bladder or urinary tract infection, mares for sure, you'll have ovary issues and cycling situations too, because it's all inflamed.
Okay.
And then the liver one, that one I even can figure out, because you look at the whites of the eye, it's actually almost black if you got a horse that has a bad liver where it needs to be flushed. That the hair coat goes bad too, but the telltale sign for me has been you look at the white of the eye and it's, either dark brown or black. And that's
I've seen that on horses before when they had a dark brown. What part of the eye is that? The white? What's that called? It's not the cornea. It's the white. It's the white of the eye. It's the white of the eye. Yeah.
Sandpapery hair coat and diarrhea and whites of the eye is black. That's liver symptoms.
Yeah, I'm getting a good education here too.
Other than that, we have our minerals are across the board just to keep your blood flow and your maximum health to where it needs to be. We have another great product for mares. It's called MareMate. We brought that out for a Regimate replacement. It's that keeps mares in cycle, helps them for breeding issues, and to keep those mares level-headed and easier to live with and to work with every day. It works very well on keeping the hormones balanced and their progesterone levels where they need to be. Maybe
we ought to start talking about the human side right now.
I can fix you up.
Well, and we touch base on the electrolyte products too, which are key this time of the year.
Well, when we started talking about the kidney thing, I think the next thing would be to go to the electrolyte, because would you recommend using, and it's the Relink, right? Is that what it's called?
No, it's the Hydrolyte or the Electric Boost tubes.
Well, I'm talking about the kidney deal.
Oh, that's just called kidney.
It's called kidney support. That's
kidney support. Would you go ahead and use your hydration product with that to help flush?
Absolutely. It helps flush them out, and it just helps them. Our hydration products are all about blood flow to your organs and your muscles. So the more blood flow you can get to your organs, the more they will self-heal. So use that product while we do the kidney treatment. It definitely puts it on steroids. And we have our Hydrolyte products. We have it in a Hydra Boost tube, and we have it in a dry for a powder. But our Hydra Boost tube is more of a quick fix or a quick Band-Aid type, get it there quick. But that tube just about puts any of our other medication on steroids. And it just faster acting, faster kicking into their system, just because it opens up their pores so much and it spreads through their body a lot quicker.
So that product actually thins the cell wall and allows hydration to happen quicker.
You can watch a horse with a thermal imaging camera and see all the blues and the reds and different parts where there's no circulation. You give them Electro Boost tube. You can wait about 15 minutes, turn your camera on, and you can watch it spread through the body. And it's 20 to 30 minutes. It's completely spread through that body.
And when you say, I just want to make sure we're clarifying this for everybody. When you say it's like putting it on you say it's putting it on steroids. This isn't a steroid. This is just a natural enhancement to the body. Yeah. I just want to make sure, because you guys are running all natural stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It is not a steroid. That would be the analogy.
Yeah, I shouldn't have worded it that way, but it just doubles.
That's what my job is, Adam. That's what I'm here for.
Okay.
What else you got? Why should somebody, if I'm going to buy a horse, I mean, why sell me on why I should have elite nutrition products in my barn? What's an everyday thing that my horse ought to be on, my horse or mule?
Your mule shouldn't be fed anything so he disappears quicker.
Don't be saying that.
There's a lot of mule guys out there.
I know. No, I had that guy brought a mule to the therapy barn about the second week I was open. And the second day I was had him here, I called him and I said, "What's it take to get this mule out of my barn?" And he said, "Fix it." It was the fastest horse I ever fixed. But when he comes back to pick it up, he said, "What'd you learn?" And I said, "I learned mules are smarter than I am. And I actually learned how to get along with them." Like it was a very educational thing. And I ended up kind of liking mules, but I still give that guy a hard time. But got there. But anyway, on our what your horse needs or for elite nutrition, there's 3 products to never be without when you own a horse. And one is our colic situation, for colic situations. And we never want a horse to colic, but it can colic for 100 different things and 100 different reasons. Mm-hmm. We have a product called GastroMax that usually in 15 minutes to a half hour, if after a horse starts colicking, that horse is back to normal again and eating and completely normal again after that too. It relaxes their gut system really fast and opens up pores so they can move, their gas moves through and their colic situation goes away. So that's a tube we have a lot of, probably our best selling tube for the market across the board.
That product there, whenever I do meetings, I like to comment, if I would have had that when I was a child, I might not be married to the same woman, because I don't know how many dates I missed because we had a horse with colic, and me being the oldest boy, I was the one that had to walk it all night, and I had to cancel several dates walking horses. And I always got to be the one to put my hand where I didn't want to put it to fix it. If I had had a GastroMax, I might have made it to some of those dates. So who knows?
Yeah. So is the GastroMax, is that just one treatment? You see one colicking and boom, you hit it with the GastroMax?
One treatment. Less than 10% of the time you need the second tube. But and there's situations when a horse is completely twisted or you don't get to it quick enough that you still need surgery. But I'd say a strong 90% of the time we can fix a colic situation in under a half hour with this. It's a 50 milligram tube. It's a pretty big wallop at it, but it settles your guts really, really quickly. And usually they start passing gas and moving things along and their stomach relaxes and it goes away.
Well, let's dial this back to the basic level. I just went to the Horses, Hounds, and Mules sale. I decided that, hey, I'm going to get my first horse. And so how am I going to recognize colic in my horse and know when I need to be giving it GastroMax? Off
feed, pawing, and trying to roll, like uncomfortable stomach ache. Mm-hmm. Like you have a bad stomach. You have food poisoning. Like that's sort of how a horse reacts. Like you'd be bent over holding your stomach. That's kind of the easiest thing. Like they paw, they walk around, they don't eat, and they try to lay down, they get back up. And
it's a buildup of gas is what it is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, how you feel when you got gas and you can't get rid of it. That's how they feel.
And it can come from being dehydrated too long, shipping too long, stressed out too long, changing feed programs, eating the wrong weeds. Like there's lots and lots of different reasons for colic. The biggest thing on a horse is to have a good feeding program is very minimal having colic situations. Since I've been feeding elite and this program for about 12 years on my feeding program now, knock on wood, I have over 60 head on my farm at all times. I have not had colic in the last 12 years. And hopefully tomorrow morning I won't get up and have it either. But having good feeding program, fresh water, and good hay in front of your horse, and make sure their guts is always working. That is a key thing to making sure that your horse doesn't get colic as best you can. And our minerals are designed to do that. Our daily minerals that you feed on top of your feeding program or on oats or et cetera, we have 2-to-1 plus, Super Blend, and Horse Plus. They all have the same concept. They do different things, but at the bottom, they all have the same ingredient to keep your guts working at its maximum performance.
Is it a prebiotic, probiotic product?
Yes, like 13 strains of probiotic, 12 strains of prebiotic.
They would be equivalent to the Essential Dog. Now, the Super Blend and the 2-to-1 Plus are a little bit unique, but the Horse Plus would be our equivalent on the horse side to our Essential Dog on the dog side.
Nice.
So 3 that we couldn't do without. What were the?
Yeah, the 3.
The other one, the release tube is another one that I tell every new horse owner to keep in hand. That is if a horse ties up or has asteria and can't pee. You give them the release tube, and usually a half hour to 45 minutes, the horse peed, relaxed, and is back on its way again.
Is that an oral product? Because it doesn't sound like an oral product.
That's an oral product.
Okay. I just didn't want to make sure we weren't like cathing a horse here.
No,
it's just a paste that you
shoot another tube in there. And I'm telling you, if you take it yourself in about 10 minutes, you will pee. I promise. It don't matter where you're at or what's going on. It does the job.
Let's give some to Chip. We've got time. We've got time to see how this works. He's wearing those light colored shorts, so we'll see it too.
We'll see how it works. Yeah. It does work. But that's a product again. It's like colic. You never know like what can happen, or if a horse is a little stressed out or overheated or whatever, the kidneys tie up. And tie up is very, very expensive to fix and can be fatal if not treated right away. If your horse starts walking a little stiff or acting like he wants to pee and he can't, like that, you hit him with the release tube right away, and you can avoid like thousands and thousands of dollars of vet bills.
Wow.
A lot of the Amish folks that use like their horse and buggy, they'll carry a Gastromax tube and a release tube in their buggies at all times.
All the time. Wow.
And they get to church or they get somewhere, on a, hour drive or whatever, and their horse doesn't want to pee. They just give them a release tube. And they go around church asking guys, you got a release tube? Got a release tube? Got a release tube?
What would be the third product?
That's the Gastromax, then the release tube, and our minerals.
And then your minerals.
Yeah. The mineral, like prevention is half the price of a cure, and it's a lot easier to prevent than it is to fix. And our mineral program is designed to make a maintenance-free program, like full absorption of their feed, keep their blood flow where it is, keep their kidneys flushed out, keep their liver leveled out. And see, the biggest thing for our minerals versus what most of the minerals that you buy in the market is they will not store excess. So if you have a horse at a sale you buy that has on a feeding program that's high in calcium, and you buy another horse that's low in calcium, or you buy a horse that's high in protein and a one that's low in protein. You feed our minerals and they all come together and meet. Like it balances out either one. Whatever they don't need that goes out the back door, they don't store it in their muscles. They don't store it in their fatty tissue. They don't store it in their organs. They don't store it in their liver, in their kidneys, or in their heart. You can feed a high fat feed, and if you feed our minerals with it, they will not store that fat. It goes out the back door. That's our prebiotic, probiotic, antioxidant combination that we put in our minerals. They will not store something they need. You can take a blood test of our horse, any of our horses that are on our mineral program, and those blood tests will just line up straight down the middle because they will not store excessive amounts of something.
So every horse in your barn, if I went down, did a blood draw on each one, it would be hard to tell the difference in those analysis if I didn't have the name on the horse. That's
right. I can tell you 10 horses' names right now and tell you exactly what their blood's going to look like when you draw it. Like it's all the same. All our horse blood, all the blood, we do our own blood. We have our own blood lab here, and we do our own blood testing and stuff here. But every horse that's on our mineral program and on our feed program, the blood looks exactly the same. Not always when they come in. I'm saying like we have horses that are screwed up, but they're here for 2 to 3 months or longer. It all looks the same.
Wow.
And it's all about
I just keep saying wow because what you guys do up there just amazes me. I didn't understand when Chip first told me, he's like, hey, come up to the therapy barn. I thought, okay, what's this going to be? And I get there and there's hydro tanks where you're exercising horses in there. You've got, you're doing your own blood work. You go in the warehouse, you guys are developing your own products. I mean, it's no fly by night operation. I can tell you that.
Don't forget about the track too for the training center there.
100%. I mean, I sat there and watched Sulky just rock around the track, and it was cool.
Yeah, I thank you. We put a lot of time and effort into it, and it pays off every day. We have a lot of fun. We really enjoy what we do. And it's always, at the end of the day, we're here to fix your horse. Like we all are, all the owners and the people that work here are all passionate about the horse. When the horse comes in there, it's not how much it costs to fix the horse. It's what can we do to fix the horse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so you talked about your minerals. I want to ask this question real quick. I'm kind of jumping backwards here a little bit, but does that also, that feeding program also do parasite control with the minerals, or is that a separate product?
It is to a certain extent. Parasites, it creates an environment that parasites don't like to be in.
Mm-hmm. So
we have very, very low parasite situations on our feeding program.
And if somebody starts, I'm sorry, Adam, you had a little bit of a lag there, and I think I started to talk over you. Were you going to say something else?
Go ahead.
So if I start feeding Elite, what does the support look like? Can you help me as a horse owner? I'm not even going to say new horse owner, because there's a lot of people that have had horses for years that may need help in this area too. Would you help me develop a feeding program for my horse?
Absolutely.
If I'm feeding them?
Absolutely. And we do that a lot, and we specialize in doing that. We have 9, 10, 11 people in the company that answer all the questions that you have or that we can get. Anytime you have a horse, we get daily calls, lots of calls daily of, I just bought a new horse. It does this, this, and this. What do I do? Or my horses are all doing this, this, and this. What do I do? Can you help me put a program together? And a lot of times we start out with a water sample or a hay sample. Like, we'll have you buy a new horse. You say you have 10 horses in your barn and you're not happy with what your horses look like. So you send me some hay and a water of what you're feeding your horses, or maybe a soil sample, depends on your environment, what you have. And we will put a program together that works for you and send you the results of what we find, and we'll send you what you need to feed. And if there's nobody selling products close to you, we'll send you the products. And then in 3 months or 6 weeks or whatever, like, you call back, we tell you, like, give this 4 weeks, 6 weeks, call us and tell us how you're doing and what they're doing, what they're looking like, and where they're at this point. And we have a huge support team here to help you get the most out of your feeding program that you can. Feeding horses can be inexpensive and easy if you're feeding the right thing.
So you're in the horse fix-it business with the therapy barn, but I want to ask you this. With your feeding program, you said do you personally have 60 head on your farm?
I do.
And so how often do you have health issues with a good feeding program? How important is that feeding program to avoid? How many times does a vet have to come to your place for a problem?
Never. And I shouldn't say never. Very, very little. There's some issues once in a while across the board, but I'm telling you, if you feed your horses good, they're on a great feeding program. And I'll share something just for fun. I have 9 brood mares on the farm out of those 60 head that stay here. We're here quite a while already. The last 2 years, 9 babies. I bred them back one time. They conceived. The next spring, I had 9 babies again. I bred them again one time. They conceived, and now we're on track for 9 babies next spring again. Like, that's balance of your body condition working right and being healthy. And as far as colics and situations, I have very little, but they all get fed at the same time every day, and they get fed our minerals. We don't feed a lot. Like in our feeding program, they get 2 pounds of feed twice a day, and they live outside and they're horses, but they get fed the right. I try to keep them balanced the best I can.
What are we looking at on cost on this? When we're doing a cost analysis, how much am I adding to my daily cost to feed? And taking out the fact that, treatment costs twice as much as a good feeding program. But realistically, what are we looking at for cost analysis on this daily cost?
With just our mineral program, with just the horse plus, you're looking at about 82 to 94 cents a day added on top of your feeding program for all the prevention.
So $30 a month, roughly less than $30 a month. And you're looking at, $360 a year. And what's one vet visit cost?
$1,000. And if you got to fix your kidneys, then it's $240. If you got an EPM situation, then it's another $240 or $400 or whatever, like from us. But I'm saying that $360 a year is the cheapest thing you can do for your horse.
Mm-hmm. How many horses do you think you see come through the therapy barn every year, Adam?
I have no idea. If we do 20 Mondays and 20 Wednesdays in the barn full, 50 a week.
50 a week.
Roughly.
Yeah. That's impressive. And what's your success rate in bringing in these problem horses and turning them around? Have you ever done the math?
Pretty good. The last 2 years we were over 98%.
98?
98%. We had to put down 19 horses in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. But they were already coming to you when.
Yes.
Yeah. If they didn't come to your barn, they were getting put down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them they couldn't walk when they got off the trailer, and we were a week too late or a month too late to do anything for them.
Mm-hmm. If somebody has an animal like that out there right now, how do they get that scheduled to come to you if it's something they want to really try to let you fix?
Call the therapy barn number 768-4330 and talk to Emily and
they probably need the area code too.
Probably need. And the horse can be here whenever it needs to be. We have a waiting list on horses, just rehab horses, but for sick horses, we always have room for them.
Give them the number with the area code.
Here, I'm gonna run a banner across the bottom. So if you want to,
what's Emily's extension?
Give me that number with the area code.
260-768-4330.
4330. Okay. I'm gonna run a ticker across the bottom so people can see it, and we'll see how this works out.
I'd be excited to see what we can do. And to do feeding programs, I travel quite a bit through the weeks. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, I do some traveling across the country, and I go to farms and walk their farms and fix their feeding programs. I got a riding horse stable that specializes in selling fat, big, shiny, lazy horses for beginner riders. So they wanted a mineral that would keep their horse healthy and heavyweight and low energy. And we designed one for them. They buy quite a bit at a time. Like it's a big stables and they use a lot. So, and the racing world the same way. We kind of whatever, like you tell me what you want, and we can usually put a program together to fix your needs with what we have and putting a combination together.
We're big enough to reach the country, but we're still small enough we can accommodate special circumstances.
Yeah, personalized service.
Yeah, that's probably one of my most exciting things to do across the board is to fix feeding programs for people and have them like 3 to 5 months later call and say, my horses are all healthy, they're all fat, they're all in good shape, they all get along, they're all happy, and they're all doing good. Like that's the joy or the kick of what I do for my job.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to ask you a question about hay. Alfalfa or grass hay?
That's $1 million question. I feed straight alfalfa hay here in Shipshewana in our barn and our farm. environment, heat, climate is a huge factor in what they need or what they absorb or what they have. So alfalfa has a lot of nutrients and a lot of good in it. I'm a strong alfalfa guy here, but it's all about balance. So if you feed a good hay, you can feed a decent feed. If you feed a junk hay and try to make it up with a high powered like grain, that's when you get into trouble. It's all about balance. I tell the people feed the best feed they can get, and it's the cheapest thing they ever did.
Wow. Same thing applies to hounds.
For real?
Keep trying to preach that to people. Feeding good quality stuff is cheaper in the long run than trying to save money on a bag of junk.
Mm-hmm. Or some of the guys that keep 40 dogs to do the work of 3 just because the dogs can't keep up.
Yeah, we'll edit that part out. That was Chip Kohser, by the way. Chip Kohser said that. What else we got? Anything else we need to add? This has been awesome. Adam, next time I'm never going to invite Chip. Just me and you are going to talk.
He's the guy that keeps me under control. Hey, I'll answer questions. My brain's done. I guess I can't think of anything top of my head. You tell me what you want or look at. I know
Chip's got stuff to say.
Well, the one thing that I mentioned to him twice and he keeps forgetting is we've got some, when it comes to dealing with stomach issues, ulcers, we've got some products that do phenomenal things and relatively inexpensively as well.
We do. We have an ulcer treatment. Sorry, Chip, I was going to bring that up when I had a moment. But ulcer treatment, there's a lot of ulcer treatments on the market. Okay, an ulcer is a growth on your stomach lining. Okay, so a lot of products out there that go after that growth to try to shrink it down or kill it, make it go away. Okay, we are very fortunate to have a formulator and a person here that can do what I want it to do. And she designed a product that goes after the stomach lining. It heals the lining where the ulcer is attached to. Okay, so that heals. So when you quit your treatment, the ulcer's healed and everything's gone. That place is healed. It won't regrow again. A lot of these ulcer treatments out there will shrink that ulcer down to almost nothing, but then when you quit using it, there's still the stomach lining still isn't healed. So another ulcer grows back. That's why people say once you put a horse on ulcer medicine, it's always got to be on ulcer medicine. That is not true. If you fix the problem and fix the root of the cause, then it doesn't have to be that way.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I just like to come up there and hang out with you and watch you run through some of these problems and being able to recognize the problems. Mm-hmm. Well, Chip, I give you a hard time, but I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks in New Mexico. You're gonna have a blast.
No, I am. I'm looking forward to. I've outside of going to Colorado elk hunting and going to Vegas for trade shows, I haven't spent much time west of the plains. So I'm looking forward to going to New Mexico for the first time. In the last 3 months, I've told my wife we can go to Virginia Beach, to Montreal, to South Dakota, and she's turned me down flat and said she was too busy, but she jumped at the chance to come to New Mexico. So I'm hoping that it not just works out for Elite and me, but that she enjoys it as much as I hope she does. So she'll go on another trip with me sometime soon. Whenever you go into a restaurant and say just one over and over and over again, it gets old. Every now and again, and it's cool to travel with somebody.
Right.
One thing I do want to mention too, as far as Elite goes, that weekend that I'm out there is also Pro Sports youth event that they're having. This youth event we're having, I ended up getting myself double booked, but we're sending Dawn in my stead to the Pro Sport event. But I'm excited to announce that we've partnered with them to sponsor them, but not just sponsoring to get the publicity of our logo and all their stuff and whatnot like that. But we're actually starting a scholarship fund for that youth program. So I'm pretty excited about that. That that not only is something that's exciting for Elite, but it takes me back to my roots, and hopefully maybe 20 years from now, some guy will come up to one of my kids or somebody else from Elite saying, Chip Kohser helped pay for my school the way I got with my dad with joy whenever
you bet
going back around. So
you bet. All right. Well, hey, if there isn't anything else, we touch everything we need to touch.
I think
so.
I'm good.
And sooner or later, we'll get to talk about the human line. And that one's really exciting because all of us are fat, middle-aged, and overweight and everything else, or at least myself. I don't know about you, Chris, but it's a lot easier to get people.
Not me.
Whatever you sit there and talk about horse products and dog products, you have to explain what that means. When you say whatever you say that your body hurts and your ankle, like we have a lot easier way of understanding the pain that we as humans get because as you get older, we've all felt it.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. All right. Well, you guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Houndsman XP podcast. You can find the entire Elite Nutrition lineup for dogs and for equine at houndsmanxp.com on our shop. And if you got any questions, I'm running that ticker across the bottom of the screen right now. And if you're just listening, I'll put it in the show notes for this episode. But take advantage of this resource that you have here. And thanks a lot. Appreciate the time. You guys take care.
Chris, appreciate it.
Thank you. And I see you again.
All right. You bet. All right. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Houndsman XP podcast. This is Fair Chase.